Hey guys, testing. Testing the audio real quick. I think it's working. How are you guys? Let's see, we got not that many people in here now. Testing. Is that better? Alright. So, I'm kind of a hot mess right now. Hi. Didn't feel like putting makeup on and stuff for today. I'm really fucking tired for some reason. Let me talk up in my mic. Didn't feel like putting my makeup on today. I'm really tired for some reason. So I was like really slacking, and then I decided like, let me just put a little powder on my face, a little blush. Ain't no thing. Audio was low. Is it better now when I talk into it? Let me know if it's better when I talk into it, but I'll turn the volume up a bit too. Does that work? Let me hear myself. All right. Let me know if it's better. Just explaining myself. Apologies. Then I decided to throw a little powder on my face real quick so that I can stream maybe and not look like an absolute wreck. And I put powder on my face and it just made me look like I have scales because I'm so dry and dehydrated that my face is motherfucking scaly. So I started freaking out and got lotion to put on my face. Now I'm all lotioned up. And I'm like, I don't know. Let me put something on real quick for background music, and I'm going to put some lipstick on and then maybe call it a day. Alright, so let's do calming piano today. You know, the other piano music I played, it was a copyright thing, which is crazy because it was just random piano to, like, barely heard in the background. So we'll play a little bit of this while I put some lipstick on, if you don't mind. Hope you guys are doing well. Look at the transformation. Ready? We'll put lipstick on. Boom. Suddenly it looks like I'm wearing makeup. Crazy. Let's put a little mascara on. Brings out the eyes. Bring out the eyes. Got scales that were brought out by the powder. A little bit in the eyebrows. There we go. Sorry about it, guys. Sorry. Alright, that'll do. Could really use some eyelashes. Alright. Let's get into it. So, got my coffee. Tired today. Hi Martina, why do you live and not Twitch? I don't know, it's a good question. Maybe I could just start using Twitch as well. Maybe I can multi-stream. I just stopped using Twitch because it was like annoying. I would get like 3 views, like, anyway. So, what do we got going on here? Today we have a new chapter. New chapter going on today, hence the new thumbnail. But before we get into a new chapter, I like to do a quick review of the last chapter. So let's do that real quick. We are right here. Yeah, that's for Matthias. We're right here. So let's do a little recap of the last chapter, Europe 1500 to 1600, and then we're going to get into Europe 1600 to 1700. And this is called The Big Picture, okay? So we have Italy. During the high 1500 to 1520 and late 1520 to 1600 Renaissance, the major Italian artistic centers were Florence, Rome, and Venice. Whereas most Florentine and Roman artists emphasized careful design preparation based on preliminary drawings, disegno, Venetian artists focused on color and the process of paint application, colorito. Leonardo da Vinci was a master of chiaroscuro and atmospheric perspective. That's the understanding of perspective in the atmosphere, hence like the blue haze in the background. You can tell when things are in the foreground and in the background, the different coloring. He was famous for his sfumato, misty haziness, that's what I'm talking about, and for his psychological insight in depicting a biblical narrative. So yeah, in the early, we have this Michelangelo's David and the Bramante's Tempietto in Rome. So Raphael favored lighter tonalities than Leonardo and clarity over obscurity. His sculpturesque figures appear in landscapes under blue skies or in grandiose architectural settings rendered in perfect perspective. Michelangelo's carved and painted figures have heroic physiques and emotional impact. He preferred pent-up energy to Raphael's calm, ideal beauty. The leading architect of the early 16th century was Bramante, who championed the classical style of the ancients, but combined classical elements in original ways. I love that. Combining classical, but in original ways. He favored the central plan for ecclesiastical buildings. Ecclesiastical buildings. Okay. Two greatest masters of the Venetian painting school were Giorgione, who developed the concept of poesia, poetic painting, and Titan, who won renown for his rich surface textures and dazzling display of color and all its nuances. Titan established oil paint on canvas as the typical medium of the Western pictorial tradition. Mannerism, 1520 to 1600, so the late period, was a reaction to the High Renaissance style. A prime feature of Mannerist art is artifice. Renaissance artists generally strove to create art that appeared natural, whereas Mannerist artists such as Pontormo and Parmigiano were less inclined to disguise their contrived nature of art production. Ambiguous space, departures from expected conventions, and unique presentation of traditional themes are common features of Mannerist art. There we have the Parmigiano, Madonna with the long neck. Okay. Then we have Northern Europe and Spain. Dissatisfaction with the church in Rome led to the Protestant Reformation. Protestants objected to the sale of indulgences, rejected most Catholic sacraments, and do they really reject most sacraments? Oh, I didn't know that. I was raised Catholic, so yeah, Protestants objected to the sale of indulgences, rejected most Catholic sacraments, and condemned ostentatious church decoration as a form of idolatry. Oh my God, another iconoclast period with the Protestants, man. That's something, I'm sorry, that's something I love about Catholics is they're very, even if you want to call it gaudy, I don't care. Like, they're ostentatious church decorations. It's like, I love the drama. I love the regalness of it. Regality. Anyway, still, art, especially prints, played a role in Protestantism. Albrecht stir. The first artist outside Italy to become an international celebrity was a master printmaker. Fall of Man reflects his studies of classical statues and the Vitruvian theory of human proportions. This was particularly fun about the way that they described animals. Anyway, the Netherlands was one of the most prosperous countries in 16th century Europe. Netherlandish art provides a picture of contemporary life and values. Peter Erson's Butcher's Stall seems to be a straightforward genre scene, but includes the Holy Family offering alms to a beggar, providing a stark contrast between gluttony and religious piety. I like that. And that's what people often forget, and I mentioned it last time, as far as the long march into the institutions. And it's not about making rah-rah Catholic art, rah-rah conservative art, but it's a matter of, like, for example, how the left do it in subtle ways, where if there's a religious family, they always poke fun and make the religious person ignorant, or, the religious mom is just, an ignorant, kind of judgmental. They always do it judgmental. But a way of doing conservative art is not having it be screaming conservative, but, have the religious people show that sense of piety and care and understanding and love and compassion. And that's what it's about. And that's also what the far right needs to take note of, is if you call yourself a tradcath, then, like, it's not about being a dick and an asshole to women and elders or people around you. There's a sense of humbleness and compassion towards others if you are a religious person. And that should be transcended more often. Anyway, landscapes were the specialty of Peter Bruegel. His Hunters in the Snow is one of the series of paintings depicting the seasonal changes of the year and the activities associated with them. Oh, I love that. The leading painter of the 16th century Spain was the Greek-born El Greco, whose art combined Byzantine style, awesome, Italian mannerism, and the religious fervor of Catholic Spain. Love that. Okay, let me just check in on you guys, make sure everything's working properly. Okay. All right, guys, if you could just do me a favor so we can kind of get this scene a little bit going a little bit more. You should try to share this link, share it out, encourage people to kind of join this little community, because I've been off for a few months, and now that I'm back, things are a bit slow, and I think that these streams are really fun. We've really gathered a bunch of really cool people. The chat is always popping with a lot of additional information that's nice and educational. Wait, you guys can't see this full thing. What's going on here? Hold up. Let me see. Does that help? Yeah, and so if we can just get this stream going a little bit more by sharing the link and encouraging others, that would be really, really great. Give me a thumbs up if you're on YouTube. And if you're on D Live, just share it around. Help encourage people to get in here. I really appreciate everybody. And whether you are on D Live or on YouTube, I prefer, if we are going to do donations, that you use this link up here. It's streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV. And it helps me with my weekly goal. I think it's a quite modest goal. Yeah. So, why does it say 2 days ago? Oh, 2 days to go. I have 2 days to go, and I'm only at 22% of my goal. So it'd really help out if you guys help me reach my goal. Yeah. Love you guys. Let's continue. Okay, so this gets really exciting, because now we are getting to Bernini. Love it. Love it. Love the Bernini. Okay. Let me just read a little bit of the caption of this for you guys. Wait. Hold on, let me do something. Let me bring up the pictures for you. There you go. Why is just the map showing? Hold up. There we go. I like to have a little close-up look if I can. I love all these things going on up here on this frame and the ceiling. With the clouds frame that. Is that a real window? It's crazy. And then you have Bernini's sculpture here, which is pretty big in its own right, I think. I'm not sure. I haven't seen this in real life. But I'm pretty certain that's like this is like huge. So we have Gianlorenzo Bernini, interior of the Cornaro Chapel, Santa Maria della Vittoria, Rome, Italy, 1645 to 1652. Bernini was the quintessential Baroque artist. Love. For the Cornaro Chapel, he drew on the full capabilities of architecture, sculpture, and painting to create an intensely emotional experience for worshippers. Again, this is when the Catholic Church understood the importance of art. And I feel like maybe they still do in Rome, but I don't see a lot of patronage of the arts with the Catholic Church or anyone anymore, really, unless it's the left. So yeah, let's read along again with me, shall we? So Europe, 1600 to 1700. Let me see if you guys can still see it if I zoom in a bit. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Let me do a little bit more. Cool. So during the 17th century, numerous geopolitical shifts occurred in Europe as the fortunes of the individual countries waxed and waned. Pronounced political and religious friction resulted in widespread unrest and warfare. Dun dun dun. I mean, wow. Pronounced political and religious friction resulted in widespread unrest and warfare. Indeed, between 1562 and 1721, all of Europe was at peace for a mere 4 years. The major conflict of this period was the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, which ensnares Spain, France, Sweden, Denmark, and the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Poland, and the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire. Speaking of Ottoman Empire, I was photographed by Count Nikolai Otto von Bismarck. That's right. The great something relative descendant of Otto von Bismarck. Pretty epic. Anyway, and he's also dating Kate Moss right now. Anyway, so although the outbreak of this war had its roots in the religious conflict between militant Catholics and militant Protestants, fucking Protestants and Catholics fighting is so strange to me. The driving force quickly shifted to secular, dynastic, and nationalistic concerns. Among the major political entities vying for expanded power and authority in Europe were the Bourbon dynasty of France and the Habsburg dynasty of Spain and the Holy Roman Empire. The war, which concluded with the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648, was largely responsible for the political restructuring of Europe. Okay, sorry, let me read that again. I'm being retarded. The war, which concluded with the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648, was largely responsible for the political restructuring of Europe. And then there's like a map to show it. So let's look at this map real quick so we understand what we're talking about here. There we go. Okay. So we have Italy, Kingdom of Naples, Italy, okay, the Ottoman Empire here, the Holy Roman Empire. Okay. So as a result, the United Provinces of the Netherlands, let me make sure you can see. Yeah. As a result, the United Provinces of the Netherlands, the Dutch Republic, Sweden, and France expanded their authority. Spanish and Danish power diminished. In addition to reconfiguring territorial boundaries, the Treaty of Westphalia in essence granted freedom of religious choice throughout Europe. This treaty thus marked the abandonment of the idea of a united Christian Europe and recognized the practical realities of secular political systems. The building of today's nation-states was emphatically underway. The 17th century also brought heightened economic competition to Europe. Much of the foundation for worldwide mercantilism, extensive geographic exploration, improved maps, advances in shipbuilding had been laid in the previous century. So I hate when they like cut off a word and go to like the next sentence. Like, thank you for trying to make it a square, but it makes it hard to read. Anyway. So let me see. Much of the foundation for worldwide mercantilism, extensive geographic exploration, improved maps, advances in shipbuilding had been laid in the previous century. In the 17th century, however, changes in financial systems, lifestyles, and trading patterns, along with the expanding colonialism, fueled the creation of a worldwide marketplace. The Dutch founded the Bank of Amsterdam in 1609, which eventually became the center of European transfer banking, by establishing a system in which merchant firms held money on account. I feel like I hear squeaking. Do you hear that? I hear something weird. I'm like wondering if there's like a weird echo or something. Anyway. Okay, the Dutch founded the Bank of Amsterdam in 1609, which eventually became the center of European transfer banking. By establishing a system in which merchant firms held money on account, the bank relieved traders of having to transport precious metals as payment. I love precious metals. Trading practices became more complex. Rather than reciprocal trade, triangular trade among the three parties allowed for a larger pool of desirable goods. Exposure to a wider array of goods affected European diets and lifestyles. Coffee. I need that coffee. Coffee from island colonies and tea from China became popular beverages during the early 17th century. Equally explosive was the growth of sugar use. I love sugar. Sugar, tobacco, and rice were slave crops, and the slave trade expanded to meet the demand for these goods. The resulting worldwide mercantile system permanently changed the face of Europe. The Prosperity international trade generated The prosperity international trade generated affected social and political relationships, necessitating new rules of etiquette, and careful diplomacy. With the increased disposable income, more of the newly wealthy spent money on art, expanding the number of possible sources of patronage. Oh my God, every single time I do this stream, they always mention that the patronage, the people funding the art, the importance of art, and it's usually, you see wealthy people, people of power, emperors, the Holy Roman Empire. You know, it was an important thing in history. You're just gonna sit there and listen to me and munch. Do you hear this like echoing? There's like a weird squeakiness I feel like I hear. Like an electronic squeal, you know? Or is that just the piano music? Every computer I have, the fan goes nuts. I don't know why. I'm not doing anything. Oh. Well, we're just getting into a new chapter, so they always kind of give you a little history lesson on what's going on in Europe at the time. So Europe between 1600 to 1700, they had like some war. It was like the Protestant Catholics started warring and shit. I didn't realize that they were like at war like that hardcore all the time. Jesus Christ.
Protestants and Catholics.
Yeah, like what's their...
Haven't you heard?
But like what's their beef, dude? They're like the same religion, except Protestants do less drama than Catholics. Like that's about it. Oh, did you hear that?
No.
Am I hearing things?
Probably.
Okay, but yeah, there was like the 30 Years' War and shit, and then they started talking about trade, how like trade expanded because like the Dutch built...
1600s.
Mm-hmm. And then how the Dutch created like a banking system. So that kind of changed the way trade happened because it was like a third party instead of like you having to carry around your like treasure bag. Remember how I went to travel with my treasure?
Can they hear me when I talk?
I don't know, possibly.
When Martina traveled recently, she has like, you know, silver.
Yeah, I have some like silver coins and gold and stuff.
She makes sure that everything goes with her.
Yeah, I wanted to like just carry my treasure everywhere, and I literally wanted to get like a little treasure chest or like a treasure bag, you know, like I'm like a merchant in like Venice in 1600s, like with a bag of coins and like gemstones and stuff. Ridiculous. But yeah, then they just started talking about with increased disposable income, more of the newly wealthy spent money on art, expanding the number of possible sources of patronage. Amazing. That's totally what, you know, we need. We need people with disposable income to Martina's treasure bag, that's right. It's like the Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. On the streets, they fight for knocking territory. It's funny. Money bags, Markota. That's right. Okay. I'm gonna bring you back to what I'm reading just because, like, I think the map bit is over. Okay, so art historians traditionally describe 17th century European art as Baroque. But the term is problematic. Ooh, problematic. Because the period encompasses a broad range of styles and genres. Although its origin is unclear, Baroque may have come from the Portuguese word barraco, meaning an irregularly shaped pearl. Aww. Use of the term emerged in the late 18th and early 19th centuries when critics disparaged the Baroque period's artistic production, in large part because of the perceived deficiencies in comparison with the art of the Italian Renaissance. Over time, this negative connotation faded, but the term is still useful to describe the distinctive new style that emerged during the 17th century, a style of complexity and drama, seen especially in Italian art, whereas Renaissance artists revealed the precise, orderly rationality of classical models. Italian Baroque artists embraced dynamicism, theatricality, and elaborate ornamentation, love it, all used to spectacular effect, often on a grandiose scale. I mean, I love that. I'm all about that. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I'm all about it. How you guys doing? We okay? I feel like you still can't see this thing. Oh god, why is it so so annoying? Hold on. Let me adjust this so you can read along with me, not just look at random letters. Putting something on the list, Jack?
It just occurred to me most normal people have a digital watch later list, but we have a scrap of paper on the wall.
Jack, because I'm an old lady and I need things written in a book or on a wall.
That's why I just added something I want to watch on Amazon Prime on the list. We have a movies TV to watch list. Instead of a digital to watch list, we have a piece of paper on the wall that reminds us.
I mean, that's how I do it.
It works.
You should have seen my desk in the. I was gonna say the Bronx. Yeah, I should have seen.
Full books of lists.
Oh yeah, I mean I have books of lists, but also in Brooklyn, I had my desk just had papers everywhere. I was like post office here. I was like YouTube thumbnails this size. I was like everything that I need handy information was on the wall. All right. So then we get to Italy. That's what we're doing today. We're going to be doing Italy and, chill. Italy and chill. So, although in the... Let me see if I can zoom in. Does this fuck you guys up? Yeah, it does. God damn it. I want to be able to read it easier. Okay, although in the 16th century, the Catholic Church launched the Counter-Reformation as a response to and a challenge to the Protestant Reformation, the considerable appeal of Protestantism, terrible word, continued to preoccupy the popes in Rome throughout the 17th century. Protestantism changed the nature of artistic patronage in many European countries, but in Italy, the Catholic Church remained the leading source of artistic commissions. Again, the church, wealthy people, emperors, popes, all sorts of stuff, kings, patronage, okay? Patrons of the arts. Important. They created works that are historic, that we are still looking at today, that we still, are admiring today and cherish today. So that's what that's all about. Let's get into it. The aim of much of Italian Baroque art was to restore Catholicism's predominance and centrality. Love it. Restore. Let's restore the dominance of Catholicism through art. I don't know why I said that in an accent. I don't know what accent that was. Okay, so we have architecture and sculpture. Italian 17th century art and architecture, especially in Rome, reflected the renewed energy of the Counter-Reformation. At the end of the 16th century, Sixtus, cool name, Sixtus V, That's funny. Sixtus V, roughly 1585 to 1590, had augmented the papal treasury and intended to rebuild Rome as an even more magnificent showcase of the Catholic Church's power. Between 1606 and 1667, several strong and ambitious popes, Paul V, Urban the Eighth, Innocent the 10th, and Alexander the 7th brought many of Sixtus V's dreams to fruition. Rome still bears the marks of their patronage everywhere. See, Rome still bears the marks of their patronage everywhere. People want to make an impact socially, politically, and all this stuff, and they're focused on clickbait and political fucking clickbait and Twitter. But if they want to make a real strong, lasting impact, boom, art. Be a patron of the arts, man. I mean, and if you think about it, architecture, okay? That's something long-standing. Get involved in that. That'll last quite some time, and it's pretty useful. Get involved in sculpture. Again, that's something that lasts quite a bit of time. Can be pretty epic, as we'll see, especially with Bernini. Painting, sure. But nowadays we have photography, right? Like I was explaining, a lot of portraiture and painting stuff was before photography came around, so that there was like an actual need for it. And I know nowadays, once photography was invented, cameras were invented, the need for portraiture and painting kind of went out of style because it was time consuming, it was costly, it was just unnecessary once you can just snap a picture. But you can still be a patron of some fantastic photography. You know, even in the media, I mean, back in the day, in like the 80s and 90s, I remember being a photographer for the media or National Geographics or whatever. They went out and they were put into situations. I mean, I did it when I went to Paris for Rebel and filmed the Gilets jaunes, the riots going on there, the protests going on there. I mean, I was into getting quality photos in situations that were dangerous, but I don't see that anymore. No, everyone just wants like that iPhone footage. For some reason, everyone thinks the iPhone footage is good and they want that clickbait, that realistic kind of thing. But where's that old like black and white, amazing, epic photography right in the scene that is just great photography on its own? I mean, that's the stuff that lasts. I mean, we all know that image of the in, like I said, Iraq, or the Arab girl, you know, and she has those, you know, bright eyes. That's still epic today. You know, there are so many of these iconic images that are still relevant today. But what do we have really going on today? I mean, the photography like sucks. Everyone wants that clickbait iPhone footage. It sucks. There's still a usefulness in the arts. Okay, I'm getting back to it. Sorry, I was just reading your comments. So then we have Carlo Maderno in 1606. Pope Paul V, roughly 1605 to 1621, commissioned Carlo Maderno, 1556 to 1629, to complete St. Peter's in Rome. As the symbolic seat of the papacy, St. Peter's radiated enormous metaphorical presence. In light of Counter-Reformation concerns, the Baroque popes wanted to conclude the already century-long rebuilding project and reestablish the majesty embodied in the mammoth structure. If you remember, that's why I think what we were going on about last time, too. I think even Leonardo was trying to do it, and then, the next guy took it over. And it just kept being passed around, and it was this huge project that could never get finished. So, because of the pre-existing core of the incomplete building, Maderno lacked the luxury of formulating a totally new concept for St. Peter's. But Maderno's new facade, figure 10-2, does incorporate the design principles of early Italian Baroque architecture. Okay, let me bring this up for you. Let's look at this architecture. Oh, oops. I did not edit that properly. Hold on. I can't have you guys seeing some shit. I gotta make sure that I edit this properly. 1 second. My bad. Don't want you guys seeing what my tabs are. Sorry. There we go. Fixed it. Let's just have a close-up real quick. Love the sculptures up here. Love the dome. Love the pillars, but also something that I noticed. Yeah, and this. Is this the central plan or some shit with the staircase? Love it. And something that I noticed too recently is, like, you see how it goes like 3/4 of the way up, and at the end of the columns, it has like that really nice. What did they call it before? I had to look up the word. And this kind of stuff, this decorative little bit, and then it has like another little section up here. I love that. Little clockies. Cool. Love it. Okay, so Maderno's facade. This is Carlo Maderno, Facade of St. Peter's, Vatican City, Rome, Italy, 1606 to 1612. Maderno's facade embodies the design principles of early Baroque architecture, vigorously projecting columns, mound dramatically towards the emphatically stressed pediment-capped central section. Mouthful, but I love it. Okay, vigorously projecting columns and pilasters. Yeah, I think that's what it was that I looked it up before. The pilasters mount dramatically toward the pediment-capped central section. Strong shadows cast by the columns heightened the sculptural effect. The two outside bell tower bays were not part of Maderno's original plan. However, had the facade been constructed according to the architect's initial design, it would have exhibited greater verticality and visual coherence. Okay. In plan, Maderno's expanded St. Peter's also departed from the 16th century central plans of Bramante and Michelangelo. Paul V asked Maderno to add 3 nave bays to the earlier nucleus because he decided the Renaissance architect's central plan was too closely associated with pagan buildings, such as the Pantheon. Moreover, the traditional longitudinal plan reinforced the symbolic distinction between clergy and laity and provided a space for the processions of ever-growing assemblies. Lengthening the nave, unfortunately, pushed the dome further back from the facade and all but destroyed the effect Michelangelo had planned. A structure pulled together and dominated by its dome. When viewed at close range, the dome barely emerges from the facade's soaring frontal plane. Seen from further back, this figure that we're looking at, it appears to have no drum. Visitors must move back quite a distance from the front to see the dome and drum together. Okay. Oh, okay, so here, let me look at the next picture to show you that. What? Where is... Oh. There you go. Oh, wow, that is really pushed back. Wow. I mean, that's not just a view from a distance. That's from a view from a distance and up. So, this is the aerial view looking northwest of St. Peter's, Vatican City, Rome, Italy, 1506 to 1666. Oh my God, 666. The dramatic gesture of embrace. What? The dramatic gesture of embrace the colonnades make a worshiper enter St. Peter's piazza symbolize the... Is this English? The dramatic gesture of embrace. I mean, I feel like there should be a comma or period there if that's what it is. The dramatic gesture of embrace the colonnades make as worshippers enter St. Peter's piazza symbolizes the welcome the Roman Catholic Church extended its members during the Counter-Reformation. Okay. Well, that's fun. Okay, well, let's move on. How are you guys doing? You holding up? I feel like it's... refresh the screen, maybe. I don't know what's happening here. All right, let's read along. Oh my God. What's happening? Okay, now we get into some fun stuff because I love Bernini. He's one of my favorites. We have Gianlorenzo Bernini. Old St. Peter's had a large four-count or atrium in front of the church proper, and in the mid-17th century, Bernini, 1598 to 1680, received the prestigious commission to construct a monumental colonnade frame plaza, figure 1030, the one that we just saw, in front of Maderno's facade. Let's just have a look at it again, shall we? So Bernini received the prestigious commission to construct a monumental colonnade frame piazza, the plaza, in figure 10, this figure that you're looking at, in front of Maderno's facade. Architect, painter, and sculptor, Bernini was one of the most important and imaginative artists of the Italian Baroque era and its most characteristic spirit. Bernini's design had to accommodate two pre-existing structures on the site, a fountain Maderno designed and an ancient obelisk the Romans brought from Egypt, which Pope Sixtus V had moved to its present location in 1585 as part of his vision of Christian triumph in Rome. Bernini co-opted these features to define the long axis of vast oval embraced by two colonnades joined by Maderno's facade. 4 rows of huge Tuscan columns make up the two colonnades, which terminate in classical temple fronts. The colonnades extend a dramatic gesture of embrace to all who enter the piazza, symbolizing the welcome the Roman Catholic Church offered its members during the Counter-Reformation. Bernini himself referred to his colonnades as the welcoming arms. Oh, see, that's what the Catholic Church was about. It was about, let's have these welcoming arms. It wasn't like, degenerate, you're not Catholic. That's not what it's about, guys. It's not what it's about. Let's continue, shall we? Oh, that wasn't the end of the sentence. Bernini himself referred to the colonnades as the welcoming arms of the church. Beyond their symbolic resonance, the colonnades visually counteracted the natural perspective and brought the facade closer to the viewer. By emphasizing the facade's height in this manner, Bernini subtly and effectively compensated for its extensive width. Thus, a Baroque transformation expanded the compact central designs of Bramante and Michelangelo into a dynamic complex of axially ordered elements that reach out and enclosed spaces of vast dimensions. By its sheer scale and theatricality, the complete St. Peter's fulfilled the desire of the Counter-Reformation Church to present an awe-inspiring and authoritative vision of itself. Okay. What is this? Okay. So then we have the Baldacchino? Is that how I say it? The Baldacchino. I mean, this is fucking epic, okay? Long before being invited to design the piazza, Bernini had been at work decorating the interior of St. Peter's. His first commission, completed between 1624 and 1633, called for the design and erection of a gigantic bronze baldacchino. This figure over here under the Great Dome. Ooh, that's what's under the dome. Cool. Let's have a closer look, shall we? I mean, I've never been to Vatican or Italy or anything, so I don't know what any of this stuff looks like. Love it. Love ceilings. Is that copper? I love copper and gold. Love it. Got angels. It's like my comic book. This awesome glowing halo-looking window thing. Spiraling columns. Epic, epic, epic. Wow, okay. So this is the scale of it. You see 10 feet right here. At first I was like, that can't be right. I mean, like, the priest is hanging out over here. But then I realized, no. This is the altar and the priest is like this big. So yeah, it's probably 10 feet. Holy shit. Wow. That is fucking epic. Can you imagine? See, this is what I love about the Catholic Church. Look at the drama. It's so Lady Alchemy. I love it. Hey, Sticker King is giving me a wave. Hello, hello. Make sure you refresh the page if it's starting to glitch, okay, guys? So this is Bernini, Baldacchino, St. Peter's, Vatican City. Sorry. Vatican City, Rome, Italy, 1624 to 1633. It's gilded bronze, cool, 100 feet high. Fucking epic. Bernini's Baldacchino serves both functional and symbolic purposes. It marks St. Peter's tomb and the high altar of the church, and it visually bridges human scale to the lofty vaults and dome above. Cool. So the canopy-like structure, this Baldico, is Italian for silk from Baghdad, such as for a cloth canopy. Is as tall as an 8-story building. The Baldacchino serves both functional and symbolic purposes. It marks the high altar and the tomb of St. Peter, and it visually bridges human scale to the lofty vaults and dome above. Further, the worshippers entering the nave of the huge church, it provides a dramatic, compelling presence at the crossing. Its columns also create a visual frame for the elaborate sculpture presenting the throne of St. Peter, the Cathedra Petri. at the far end of St. Peter's. On a symbolic level, the structure's decorative elements speak to the power of the Catholic Church and the Pope of Urban VIII, roughly 1623 to 1644. Partially fluted and wreathed with vines, the Baldacchino's 4 spiral columns recall those of the ancient Baldacchino over the same spot in Old St. Peter's, thereby invoking the past to reinforce the primacy of the Roman Catholic Church in the 17th century. At the top of the columns, 4 colossal angels stand guard at the upper corners of the canopy. Forming the canopy's apex are 4 serpentine brackets that elevate the orb and the cross. Since the time of the Emperor Constantine, builder of the original St. Peter's Basilica, the orb and the cross had served as a symbol of the Church's triumph. The Baldacchino also features numerous bees, symbols of Urban VIII's family, the Barberini. The structure effectively gives a visual form to the triumph of Christianity and the papal claim to doctrinal supremacy. Doctrinal supremacy. That's a supremacy we gotta start getting into. Doctrinal supremacy. Cool. I have to go to the bathroom. Make sure you refresh the page, guys. Okay. Doctrinal supremacy. I'm drinking coffee, so it makes me go to the bathroom quite often. Going to want a break. I may just let the music play a little bit. I do have a commercial, but I don't think I should do it quite yet. But I may just go to the bathroom real quick. I'll play the piano. Just chill. I'll keep this picture up. And also, while the picture is up, maybe you think about if you're enjoying yourself, if you appreciate what I'm doing, you can always go to streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV, and, it helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, just checking something. 84:59. Sorry, 1 second. Let's get back to it. So, David. Although Bernini was a great and influential architect, his fame rests primarily on his sculpture. The biographer Filippo Baldinucci, 1625 to 1696, said about Bernini, no sculptor manipulated marble with more facility and boldness. He gave his works a marvelous softness, making the marble, so to say, flexible. In keeping with the Italian Baroque spirit, Bernini's sculpture is expansive and theatrical, and the element of time usually plays an important role in it. His David, let's have a look at his David. So you might remember Michelangelo's David, which is very stoic. It's static, stationary, and he's like posing, and it's giant. This is the same David, but it's more dynamic, and that's the difference between the Baroque era and the Renaissance era. Is this is him in action as opposed to holding the rock and just being stoic. This is him in action, about to fling the rock at the giant. So yeah, you'll see some differences with it. This is supposed to be the same David, the naked David, and I think it's even modeled after maybe himself or his son. I don't know. He was really young. He was in his 20s, and he did this in like fucking no time. So let's read on. Oh, oops, you don't know what I'm talking about. My bad. There we go. Yeah, see, this is the same David as like Michelangelo, but it's different. Michelangelo's David, he's holding the rock like this, and he's just like naked and shit. This one, this is him about to fling the rock. It's dynamic, is what they call it. So his David fundamentally differs from the earlier portrayals of the same subject by Donatello and Michelangelo. Donatello depicts David after his triumph over Goliath. Michelangelo portrays David before his encounter with the giant. Bernini chose to represent the combat itself. Unlike his Renaissance predecessors, the Baroque sculptor aimed to catch the split second of maximum action. Bernini's David, his muscular legs wildly and firmly planted, begins the violent pivoting motion that will launch the stone from his sling. Unlike Myron, the 5th century BCE Greek sculptor who froze his disc, the guy that's like throwing the disc throwing guy, at a fleeting moment of, Unlike that guy, the 5th century Greek sculptor who froze his disc-throwing dude at a fleeting moment of action, Bernini selected the most dramatic of an implied sequence of poses so that the viewer had to think simultaneously of the continuum and of this tiny fraction of it. Whew, sorry. But yeah, you can see that. It's pretty big as well. This is Bernini's David, 1623. It's marble. It's only 5'7". All right. Not that big. I guess he's like it's about my height. A little bit smaller than me even. It's Galleria in Rome. Bernini's sculptures are expansive and theatrical, and the element of time plays an important role in them. His emotion-packed David seems to be moving through both time and space. The suggested continuum imparts a dynamic quality to the statue that conveys a bursting forth of energy. Bernini's statue seems to be moving through time and through space. This kind of sculpture cannot be inscribed in a cylinder or confined in a niche. Its dynamic action demands space around it, nor is the statue self-sufficient in the Renaissance sense, as its pose and attitude direct attention beyond it to the unseen Goliath. Bernini's sculptured figure moves out into the space that surrounds it. Further, the expression of intense concentration on David's face contrasts vividly with the classical placid visages of Renaissance Davids. The tension in the young hero's face augments the dramatic impact of Bernini's sculpture. Okay, what's that? Don't forget, guys, you can always contribute to streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV if you appreciate what I'm doing here. Thank you, thank you. Just have to throw it out there every once in a while. Have to. Let's move on to the next one. Love this one. Love it. Like, remember how that quote of the biographer, he talked about how he made things look soft, how he made marble look soft. I mean, look at the fabric. Look at the skin. How in the hell did this guy make fabric look like this? I also did a piece at the Rebel. There was a Bernini sculpture that was moved, and it like was put back kind of roughly, and it like knocked a finger off of it. Can you imagine breaking a finger off of a Bernini sculpture? Stop moving that shit. God damn it. Just don't touch it, people. So this is Bernini's Ecstasy of St. Teresa. Oh yeah, I think someone mentioned this before. I do have the picture actually where the Ecstasy of St. Teresa looks just like Lindsay Lohan. It's really fucking funny when she's all passed out. So, wow, that's pretty big too. Look, 1 foot is over there by her foot, like barely even reaches her heel. It's like 2 feet by the heel. That thing is huge. Cool. So this is Cornaro Chapel, Santa Maria della Vittoria, Rome, Italy, 1645 to 1652. And it is made of marble. It is 11 feet 6 inches high. The passionate drama of Bernini's depiction of St. Teresa correlated with the idea of Ignatius Loyola, who argued that the recreation of spiritual experience would do much to increase devotion and piety. Cool. Another work that displays the motion and emotion of Italian Baroque art and exemplifies Bernini's refusal to limit his statues to firmly defined spatial settings is Ecstasy of St. Teresa in the Cornaro Chapel of the Roman Church of Santa Maria della Vittoria. For this chapel, Bernini marshaled the full capabilities of architecture, sculpture, and painting to charge the entire area with palpable tension. He accomplished this by drawing on the considerable knowledge of the theater he was absorbed from writing plays and producing stage designs. Oh, I love that. Cool. Theater. The marble sculpture 10-6, yeah, what you're looking at, that serves as the chapel's focus depicts Saint Teresa, one of the great mystical saints of the Spanish Counter-Reformation. Her conversion occurred after the death of her father, when she fell into a series of trances, saw visions, and heard voices. Feeling a persistent pain, she attributed it to the fire-tipped arrow of divine love that an angel had thrusted repeatedly into her heart. I mean, I could use a few enemies that need a divine fire-tipped arrow that thrusts into their heart. For sure. In her writing, St. Teresa described this experience as making her swoon in delightful anguish. In Bernini's hands, the entire Cornaro Chapel became a theater for the production of this mystical drama. Drama, production, theater, I love it. That's what it's all about, baby. The niche in which it takes place appears as a shallow proscenium, the part of the stage in front of the curtain, crowned with a broken Baroque pediment and ornamented with polychrome marble. On either side of the chapel, sculpted relief portraits of the family of Cardinal Federico Cornaro watch the heavenly drama unfold from choice balcony seats. Bernini depicted the saint in ecstasy, unmistakably a mingling of spiritual and physical passion, swooning back on a cloud while the smiling angel aims his arrow. I mean, that's pretty fucking epic. Can you imagine trying to depict that type of experience? I love Bernini. The sculpture's supreme technical virtuosity is evident in the visual differentiation in texture among the clouds. Rough monk's cloth, gauzy material, smooth flesh, and feathery wings, all carved from the same white marble. Holy shit. Light from a hidden window of yellow glass pours down on golden rays that suggest the radiance of heaven, whose painted representation covers the vault. I mean, it's fucking epic. It's amazing. It's fucking epic. It's fucking epic. Sorry, I'm just seeing how much more we've got because I keep misjudging how much stuff to do. We're already an hour and 23 minutes in, so we may not get to the painting bit. The passionate drama of Bernini's Ecstasy of St. Teresa correlated with the ideas disseminated earlier by Ignatius Loyola, 1491 to 1556, who founded the Jesuit order in 1534 and whom the church canonized as Saint Ignatius in 1622. In his book, Spiritual Exercises, Ignatius argues that the recreation of spiritual experiences in artwork would do much to increase devotion and piety. Again, the importance of art and how this has an effect on the masses. Thus, theatricality and sensory impact were useful vehicles for achieving Counter-Reformation goals. I mean, that's exactly it. This saint argued that the recreation of spiritual experiences in artwork would do much to increase devotion and piety. The importance of art, guys. Thus, theatricality and sensory impact were useful vehicles for achieving Counter-Reformation goals. Bernini was a devout Catholic, which undoubtedly contributed to his understanding of those goals. His inventiveness, technical skill, sensitivity to his patrons' needs, and energy accounts for his position as the quintessential Italian Baroque artist. Love it. Love, love, love. Let's get back to reading along with me just for a second because it's going to go right into another one. I just want to sit and bathe for a minute in Bernini, you know? Just bathe in Bernini. So then we have Francesco Borromini. As gifted as Bernini was, Francesco Borromini, 1599 to 1667, took Italian Baroque architecture to even greater dramatic heights. In the small church of San Carlo alla Quattro Fontane, St. Charles at the Four Fountains, Boromini surpassed many of his predecessors or contemporaries in emphasizing a building's sculptural qualities. Oh, okay, let's check it out. Oh, is that it? I think it's that. Let me see. Where are we at? Oh, okay. No, yeah, we're this one. Lovely. Love gold. Love ornate things. Ooh, got a little thing going on in here, like a diorama. Love it. Look at that sun. Lovely sun. Is that St. George's Cross? I don't know. Let's learn a little bit about it. So this is the facade of San Carlo alle Quattro Fontane, something about four fountains. It's in Rome, Italy, 1665 to 1676. Boromini rejected the traditional notion that a building's facade should be a flat frontispiece. Frontispiece, that's what it says. He set San Carlo's facade in undulating motion. I love when they use the word undulating. His book uses it all the time. Making a counterpoint of concave and convex elements. I love that. He's like, nah, fuck that flat facade shit. I'm making it undulating. We got concavity. We got convex elements. We're doing it. Boromini surpassed any of his predecessors or contemporaries in emphasizing a building's sculptural qualities. Maderno incorporated sculptural elements in St. Peter's facade, but Boromini set his facade in undulating motion, creating a dynamic counterpoint of concave and convex elements on two levels. For example, the sway of the cornices. He emphasized the three-dimensional effect with deeply recessed niches. This facade is not the traditional flat frontispiece that defines a building's outer limits. It is a pulsating, engaging component inserted between interior and exterior space, designed not to separate but to provide a fluid transition between the two. Cool. Underscoring this functional interrelation of the building and its environment is the curious fact that it has not one but two facades. The second, a narrow bay crowned with its own small tower, turns away from the main facade and, tracking the curve of the street, faces an intersection. The upper facade dates 7 years after Boromini's death and is uncertain to what degree the present design reflected his original intention. San Carlo's interior, let's look at that. I mean, love this. I love ceilings. I'm a ceilings person. This is a ceiling in case people don't get these kinds of pictures, but like, fuck yeah. Love ceilings. I always take pictures or look up at ceilings as soon as I go into a place, especially something that's like this. Love it. So yeah, the interior is a hybrid of a Greek cross and an oval with a long axis between entrance and apse. The side walls move in an undulating flow that reverse the facade's motion. Vigorously projecting columns define the space into which they protrude, just as much they accent the walls attached to them. Capping this molded interior space is a deeply coffered oval dome that seems to float on the light entering throughout the windows, hidden in its base. Rich variations on the basic theme of the oval, dynamic relative to the static circle, create an interior that appears to flow from entrance to altar, unimpeded by the segmentation so characteristic of Renaissance buildings. So yeah, this is Boromini's Dome of San Carlo delle alle Quattro Fontane, Rome, Italy, 1638 to 1641. In place of a traditional round dome, Boromini capped the interior of San Carlo with a deeply coffered oval dome that seemed to float on the light entering through windows hidden in its base. Oh, I see it. Okay, yeah. So the reason this is like so much lighter is that I guess there's like windows hiding in this base in here. And so it's like illuminating this. Cool. I dig, I get it. There must be like windows in here. And it's like, clever. I love it. Alright, we're at an hour and a half. And it's the end of the architecture and sculpture section, which would lead us to temptation. No, which would lead us to the next section on painting. However, I'm not sure if we're gonna have time for all that. You know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, because it's just Italy. We'll finish Italy off, then we'll get to Spain. So let's do it. Let's go to painting. And don't forget, guys, if you're watching on D Live, I mean, I would love to press my treasure chest, but I'm not getting enough interaction and action on D Live right now. Just refresh if I'm stuck. So, you know, once my D Live gets popping like it was the other day, then I'll do my treasure chest. But it's kind of stale in here. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello, welcome. I'm in the chat. I look like shit today. 'Cause I'm motherfucking tired. I don't give a shit. I should have dressed up better for the Baroque section. Well, you know, whatever. Yeah, but feel free to, whether you're on D Live or YouTube, go to streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV, and it helps me out a lot. Let me just go to my Streamlabs. I forgot to put it open. Let me see if anything's going on in there. I didn't see anything going on in Streamlabs on my screen, but you never know. Let me just check it out real quick. Yep, no, nothing going on. Okay. No love. Just got to get back to the regular schedule. I feel like people will start getting used to what's going on here. Too bad they're missing the good stuff, though. Because we worked all year long to get to this point, and this is, I feel like, the apex of this whole series, so. Anyway. So we have painting. and we're still in Italy here. Although architecture and sculpture provided the most obvious vehicles for manipulating space and creating theatrical effects, painting continued to be an important art form in the Baroque era, as it was in previous centuries. Then we have Annibale Carracci. I'm gonna say Carracci. Let's see. Let's just double check. How to pronounce names.com. How to pronounce names.com. Annibale Carracci. Okay, calm down there. Woo. Annibale Carracci. Oh, we got a diamond on D-Live. Thank you so much for the diamond. How nice of you. Yeah, man, thank you. It's about, you know, it's a solid buck. Thank you. Cool D-Live into Italian art. Got a bail. Peace MM. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Make sure you guys subscribe. If anything, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you thumbs up. Make sure you just give a little bit of support. Leave a nice comment. All of that stuff is really appreciated because I get a lot of hate. So the love is worth more than you think, more than you realize. So anyway, we have Annibale Carracci of Bologna, who received much of his training at the Academy of Art, founded cooperatively by his family members, among them his cousin Ludovico Carracci, 1555 to 1619, and brother Agostino Carracci, 1557 to 1602. Wow, he was born later and died earlier than the other guy. Damn. The Bolognese Academy was the first significant institution of its kind in the history of Western art. The Carracci founded it on the premise that art can be taught, the basis of any academic philosophy of art, and that its instruction must include the classical and Renaissance traditions in addition to the study of anatomy and life drawing. I agree with that. Yeah. The Carracci I'm going to say it again. The Carracci founded it on the premise that art can be taught, the basis of any academic philosophy of art, and that its instruction must include the classical and Renaissance traditions in addition to the study of anatomy and life drawing. Annibale Carracci's most notable work is his decoration of the Palazzo Farnese Gallery. Okay, this picture, which is fucking incredible, if I do say so myself. Look at this shit. Again, let's look at the details real quick. Degenerates! This is pornography to the trad larpers. Look at all this degeneracy. Fuck. Love it. Like, more degeneracy over here. Okay. Cool. This is Carracci's Loves of the Gods ceiling frescoes in the gallery Palazzo Farnese, Rome, Italy, 1597 to 1601. On the shallow, curved vault of this large gallery in the Palazzo Farnese, Carracci arranged the mythological scenes in a quadro riparato format, a fresco resembling easel painting on a wall. Cool. Cardinal O. Cardinal Odaro Farnese, a wealthy descendant of Pope Paul III, commissioned this ceiling fresco to celebrate the wedding of the cardinal's brother. Wow, that's an amazing commission. And again, it's a wealthy descendant of a pope. Appropriately, the title of its iconographic program is Loves of the Gods, interpretations of the varieties of earthly and divine love in classical mythology. Carracci arranged the scenes in a format resembling framed easel paintings on a wall, but he painted them on surfaces of shallow, curved vaults. This type of simulated easel painting for ceiling design is called quadro riportato. Quadro riportato. Cool. Yeah, it looks like just paintings. It's like paintings everywhere throughout the ceiling. That's dope. I'm going to paint my ceilings and walls in my house. Yeah, I just got an update from Fox News. See it, NASA's Perseverance rover. Is that what it's called? Perseverance rover lands on Mars and sends back first pictures. We got new pictures of Mars. It's pretty fucking epic today. Pretty epic. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. So every once in a while, when we're in the painting section, we have this section called Artists on Art. And it's quite enlightening. And we have Giovanni, Pietro, Bellori on Caravaggio. I love Caravaggio. That is actually the thumbnail picture that I have, along with a self-portrait that I took and did some digital painting of it. But yeah, Caravaggio did amazing chiaroscuro, the light. That's fantastic. There's actually some really cool performance art piece that replicates all the Caravaggio paintings. I want to show you that, but I don't know. I don't like to get on my personal Twitter while I'm on stream. So let's see what we have here. So the written sources to which art historians turn as aids in understanding the art of the past are invaluable, but they reflect the personal preferences and prejudices of the writers. Giovanni Pietro Bellori, 1613 to 1696, the leading biographer of Baroque artists, was an outspoken admirer of Renaissance classicism, especially the art of Raphael, and the ardent critic of Mannerism and of Caravaggio. Ooh. In his Vita of Annibale Carracci, for example, Bellori praised the divine Raphael, whose art raised its beauty to the summit, restoring it to the ancient majesty of the Greeks and the Romans, and lamented that soon after, artists abandoning the study of nature corrupted art with the Maneria, that is to say, with the fantastic idea based on practice and not on imitation. I mean, so he sounds like a trad person too, a return to tradition in art back in the Renaissance time. I mean, this is the 1600s, and they're like, the artists of the good old days were far better than these people today, and the mannerists who are trying to make things weird and realistic. I mean, why can't they be like the trad guys who studied the finest of ways of making things ideal and perfect? And I love it. They're like, the older guys were better. It seems to happen all the time. It's really funny. So we have Bellori characterized Caravaggio In this figure, let me show you 1010. This thing. I mean, it's very strange. Look at this. I mean, the lighting is fantastic. This is how I love my portraiture lighting. This guy is like underneath the horse. I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but is that a Roman? That looks like a Roman guy. I don't know. Let's see. It's pretty big too. You see, this is 1 foot here. This is Caravaggio, Conversion of St. Paul, 1601. Oil on canvas. It's 7 feet 6 inches by 5 feet 9 inches. And it's at a chapel in Santa Maria del Popolo in Rome. Caravaggio used perspective, chiaroscuro, and dramatic lighting to bring viewers into this painting's space and action, almost as if they were participating in St. Paul's conversion to Christianity. Okay, so let's get back to Bellori characterized Caravaggio as talented and widely imitated, but condemned him for his rejection of classicism in favor of realism. 2 excerpts from Bellori's Vita of Caravaggio record some of the painter's own memorable remarks. So again, this is really funny because we have these Renaissance guys being like, Caravaggio? What a modern day... I mean, he's talented and all, but like, it's too modern and realistic. I mean, he's no he's no traditional artist. This ain't going back to tradition here. It's too modern and weird. So Caravaggio began to paint. This is an excerpt of the book. Caravaggio began to paint according to his own inclinations, not only ignoring but even despising the superb statuary of antiquity and the famous paintings of Raphael. He considered nature to be the only subject fit for his brush. As a result, when he was shown the most famous statues of the ancient Greek masters, Phidias and Glykon, the throwing guy, the disc guy, in order that he might use them as models, his only answer was to point toward a crowd of people, saying that nature had given him an abundance of masters. When he came upon someone in town who pleased him, he made no attempt to improve on the creations of nature. Caravaggio claimed that he imitated his model so closely that he never made a single brushstroke that he called his own, but said rather that it was nature's. Repudiating all the others' rules, he considered the highest achievement not to be bound to art. For his innovation, he was greatly acclaimed, and many talented and educated artists seemed compelled to follow him. Nevertheless, he lacked invenzione, decorum, disegno, or any knowledge of the science of painting. The moment the model was taken from him, his hands and his mind became empty. With Caravaggio began the imitation of common and vulgar things, seeking out filthy and deformity. I mean, he sounds like a return to tradition trad fucking artist that was like not impressed by Caravaggio, liking the mundane, the average, just looking at something for what it is instead of trying to elevate it to its perfection. So this is really fucking funny to me. I don't know about you guys. No one's really interacting in the chat, but I find that fascinating kind of concept. So, yeah. Sorry, if we can go back a little bit to... Okay.
Just letting you know.
Okay, you scared me.
No, there's nothing wrong.
Okay. go back a little bit. I think I fucked up. Sometimes this book just throws me off because it, like, we were talking about Carracci, and then we went into this, but it continues on over here in the same sentence. Let me see. Yeah, so let's go back to this guy, what we were looking at. Yeah, let's go back to looking at this. I feel like I have to sneeze again. This type of simulated easel painting for ceiling design is called quadro riparato, transferred frame painting. And Carracci's great influence made it fashionable for more than a century. Flanking the framed pictures are polychrome seated nude youths who turn their heads to gaze at the scenes around them. How degenerate. And standing Atlas figures painted to resemble marble statues. Carracci derived these motifs from Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel ceiling, but did not copy the figures. Notably, Carracci's chiaroscuro in the Farnese ceiling differs from the pictures and these figures surrounding them. The painter modeled the figures inside each quadro in an even light. In contrast, light from beneath seems to illuminate the outside figures, as if they were tangible three-dimensional beings or statues illuminated by torches in the gallery below. In the crown of the vault, a long panel, Triumph of Bacchus, is an ingenious mixture of Raphael's drawing style and lighting and Titan's more sensuous and animated figures. It reflects Carracci's adroitness in adjusting their authoritative styles to make something of his own. Okay, now we'll go back to Caravaggio. Sorry about that. I always kind of get fucked up with this book, how it kind of works. So we have Caravaggio, Michelangelo Merisi, known as Caravaggio, 1573 to 1610, after the northern Italian town from which he came, developed a unique Baroque painting style that had tremendous influence throughout Europe. His outspoken disdain for the classical masters, probably more vocal than real, drew bitter criticisms from many painters, one of whom denounced him as the Antichrist of painting. Again, this cracks me up because this is modern art in 1600s, okay? Or contemporary art in 1600s. Whatever, both, you know, it's time period, really. It's a style and time period, but, like, yeah. That's really funny. This was, like, too modern for people, and he rejected the trad. Wow, that's so funny. For Giovanni Pietro Bellori, the most authoritative critic of the age and an admirer of Annibale Carracci, Caravaggio's refusal to emulate the models of his distinguished predecessors threatened the entire classical tradition of Italian painting that had reached its zenith in Raphael's work. See Giovanni Pietro and Caravaggio above, which is what we read. Yet, despite this criticism and the problems in Caravaggio's troubled life, reconstructed from documents such as police records, Caravaggio received many commissions, both public and private. Numerous artists paid him the supreme compliment of borrowing from his innovations. His influence on later artists, such as outside Italy as within, was immense. In his art, Caravaggio injected naturalism into both religion and classics, reducing them to human dramas played out in the harsh and dingy setting of his time and place by unidealized figures selected from the fields and the streets. Very, modern of him.
I got my coffee headache. I knew it was coming.
Did you drink coffee?
I drank coffee, but it's still something.
I have my, like, going to the bathroom nonstop coffee thing happening. All right, I need to finish up soon, but we have a little bit more to go on Caravaggio. So we have Conversion of St. Paul around 1601. Caravaggio painted Conversion of St. Paul for the Cerasi Chapel in the Roman Church of Santa Maria del Popolo. Yeah, I think that's this one. 1010, yeah. Yeah, 1010, which is the one we were looking at before. Let's go back to it. The painting depicts the conversion of the Pharisee Saul to Christianity when he became the disciple Paul. Caravaggio represented the saint to be flat on his back with his arms thrown up. In the background, an old hostler seems preoccupied with caring for the horse. At first inspection, little here suggests the momentous significance of the spiritual event in progress. The audience could interpret the scene as a mere stable accident, not a man overcome by a great miracle. I mean, it's no Bernini, but it is good painting. Although criticized for departing from the traditional representations of this and other religious scenes, Caravaggio imbued his paintings with eloquence and humanity. To compel interest and involvement in Paul's conversion, the painter used perspective and chiaroscuro to bring viewers as close as possible to the scene's space and action, becoming almost participants in the event. The low horizon line augments the scene of inclusion. Caravaggio designed Conversion of St. Paul for its location in the church, positioned at the line of sight of a person standing at the chapel entrance. The sharply lit features emerge from the dark of the background as if lit by the light from chapel's window. The lighting resembles that of a stage production, analogs to the rays in Bernini's Ecstasy of St. Teresa, which we saw earlier. The stark contrast of light and dark was a feature of Caravaggio's style that first shocked, then fascinated his contemporaries. Art historians call Caravaggio's use of dark settings enveloping their occupants tenebrism. Tenebrism, from the Italian word tenebroso, or shadowy manner. In Caravaggio's work, tenebrism continued mightily to the essential meaning of his pictures. In Conversion of St. Paul, the dramatic spotlight shining down upon the fallen Pharisee is the light of divine revelation converting Saul to Christianity. Let me see. Okay. He's like, I don't understand why the horse was needed, but okay. I love the style of painting. And then we have Calling of St. Matthew. I love this one as well. I wanted to maybe use this as part of my thumbnail. I forgot, I didn't use Caravaggio. I used another artist. I think it's a female artist, actually. But yeah, this one had a lot of this gold and chiaroscuro, and just this is kind of how I like my portraits to be made. I really love it. So Calling of St. Matthew. A piercing ray of light illuminating a world of darkness. Sorry. A piercing ray of light illuminating a world of darkness and bearing a spiritual message is also a central feature of Caravaggio's Calling of St. Matthew. Let me make sure you guys are seeing it. Yes. So this is The Calling of St. Matthew by Caravaggio, circa 1597 to 1601. It is oil on canvas. It is 11 feet 1 inch. That's pretty big, by 11 feet 5 inches. It's at the Contarelli Chapel in San Luigi dei Franceschi, Rome. The stark contrast of light and dark was a key feature of Caravaggio's style. Here, Christ, cloaked in mysterious shadow and almost unseen. Oh, I was looking for him. Oh, yeah. Huh. Interesting. Christ, cloaked in mysterious shadow and almost unseen, summons Levi, the tax collector, St. Matthew, to a higher calling. Motherfucking tax collectors being like, Jesus is like, It is one of 2 large canvases honoring St. Matthew, the artist painted for the side walls of Contarelli Chapel in San Luigi dei Franceschi in Rome. The commonplace setting, a tavern with unadorned walls, is typical of Caravaggio. Into this mundane environment, cloaked in mysterious shadow and almost unseen, Christ, identifiable initially only by his indistinct halo, enters from the right. Does he have a halo? I guess. I don't know. With commanding gesture that recalls the Lord's hand in Michelangelo's creation of Adam, he summons Levi. Is that his hand? Oh, yeah. It's that. It's like, Okay, he summons Levi, the Roman tax collector, to a higher calling. The astonished Levi, his face lightened for the viewer by the beam of light emanating from an unspecified source above Christ's head and outside the picture, points to himself in disbelief. Me? Although Christ's extended arm is reminiscent of the Lord's in creation of Adam, the position of Christ's hand and wrist is similar to that of Adam's. This reference was highly appropriate because the church considered Christ to be the second Adam. Whereas Adam was responsible for the fall, Christ is responsible for redemption. The conversion of Levi, who became Matthew, brought his salvation. Cool. I think I'm going to want to go to the bathroom again real quick, if you don't mind, guys. Just listen to the piano music and look at this Caravaggio, and then we'll get to the next section. for waiting, guys. So this next section is actually what my thumbnail is from. Something that I remember learning about in art history in high school. AP art history, yeah. And it's Artemisia Gentilici. I don't know however you say that name. I think it's a female artist. And it's pretty dramatic, if I don't say so myself. Pretty dramatic. Okay, so the letters of Artemisia. I'm not going to say her last name. Artemisia was the most renowned woman painter in Europe during the first half of the 17th century, and the first woman ever admitted to membership in Florence's Accademia del Disegno. In addition to scores of paintings created for wealthy patrons that included the King of England and the Grand Duke of Tuscany, Artemisia left behind 28 letters, some of which reveal that she believed patrons treated her differently because of her gender. I mean, I've never been a feminist, but I believe it. I believe this. 2 1649 letters written in Naples to Don Antonio Ruffo in Messina make her feelings explicit. Explicit? I fear that before you saw the painting, you must have thought me arrogant and presumptuous. If it were not for your most illustrious lordship, I would not have been induced to give it for 160, because everywhere else I have been, I was paid 100 scudi per figure. You think me pitiful because a woman's name raises doubts until her work is seen. As for my doing a drawing and sending it, tell the gentleman who wishes to know the price for a painting that I have made a solemn vow never to send my drawings because people have cheated me. In particular, just today, I found myself in the situation that, having done a drawing of souls in purgatory for the Bishop of St. Gata, he, in order to spend less, commissioned another painter to do the painting using my work. If I were a man, I can't imagine it would have turned out this way, because when the concept has been realized and defined with lights and darks, and established by means of planes, the rest is a trifle. I mean, I feel her. I'm not going to sit here and be right-wing about it and be like, ew. Because, listen, it was the 1600s. That was certainly probably a difficult thing to deal with. And even today, that is how it is. I mean, I am wronged. I am taken advantage of. And I have people just mock it. And if I were in the position that I am in certain situations, and a man, people would be riling up to defend me. So, and I don't think I would be in the position to begin with, because people wouldn't have taken advantage of me in the manner that they have. So, I believe her. I feel her pain, man. I kind of get it. It makes sense to me, everything she just said there. So, narratives involving heroic women were favored themes for Artemisia. In Judith slaying Holofernes, the controlled highlights on the action in the foreground recall Caravaggio's paintings and heightened the drama. And this is Judith slaying Holofernes, circa 1614 to 1620. It is oil on canvas. It's 6 feet, 6 1/3 inches. By 5 feet 4 inches, and it's at the Galleria degli Uffizi in Florence. So let's look at that in detail a bit, shall we? So yeah, I love this dramatic lighting as well. And you got the squirts of blood. She's, Judith slaying Holofernes. I'm into it. Gorge. That's my That's my thumbnail photo with my picture. So Caravaggio's combination of naturalism and drama appealed to both patrons and artists, and he had many followers. One of the most accomplished was Artemisia, circa 1593 to 1653, whose father Orazio, 1563 to 1630, oh yeah, he was also an artist, was her teacher, was himself strongly influenced by Caravaggio. The daughter's successful career, pursued in Florence, Venice, Naples, and Rome, helped to disseminate Caravaggio's manner throughout Italy. In Judith slaying Holofernes, Artemisia used the tenebrism and even the dark subject matter Caravaggio favored. Significantly, she chose a narrative involving a heroic female, a favorite theme of hers. The story from the Old Testament book of Judith relates the delivery of Israel from its enemy Holofernes. Having succumbed to Judith's charm, the Assyrian general Holofernes invited her to his tent for the night. When he fell asleep, Judith cut off his head. In this version of the scene, Artemisia produced more than one painting of the subject. Judith and her maidservant beheaded Holofernes. Blood spurts everywhere as the two women summon all their strength to wield the heavy sword. The tension and strain are palpable. The controlled highlights on the action in the foreground recall Caravaggio's work and heightened the drama here as well. I have to say, I'm kind of into it. Okay, what do we got going on now? I think it's the last section. Yep, this is the last little bit, and then we'll end for the night. But we have Fra Andrea Pozzo. I think the double Z in Italian is a Z, like pizza. Inspired by the Sistine Chapel and the Farnese Gallery, many Italian painters created ceiling decorations for churches and palaces. A leading practitioner of this genre was Fra Andrea Pozzo, 1642 to 1709, a lay brother of the Jesuit order and a master of perspective, on which he wrote an influential treatise. Pozzo designed and executed the vast ceiling fresco, Glorification of Saint Ignatius, figure 1013, for Saint Ignazio in Rome. Okay, let's look at this. This one. I mean, holy shit, that's a ceiling. Okay. That perspective is really interesting, actually. It keeps it going and going like it's even bigger and higher with this perspective of the columns and arches. Pretty cool. Yeah, so this is the Fra Andrea Pozzo, Glorification of Saint Ignatius, ceiling fresco in the nave of Saint Ignazio, Rome, Italy, 1691 to 1694. Pozzo created the illusion that heaven is opening up above the viewer's head by continuing the church's architecture into the painted vault. The fresco gives the appearance that the roof has been lifted off. It's really dope. I like that idea. It's really, love the immersiveness of that. I love it. So, the church was prominent in Counter-Reformation Rome because of its dedication to Saint Ignatius, the founder of the Jesuit order. The Jesuits played a major role in Counter-Reformation education and sent legions of missionaries to the New World and Asia. In Glorification of Saint Ignatius, Pozzo created the illusion that heaven is opening up above the congregation. To accomplish this, the artist illusionistically continued the church's architecture into the vault so that the roof seems to be lifted off. As heaven and earth commingle, Christ receives St. Ignatius in the presence of figures personifying the four corners of the world. A disc in the nave floor marks the ideal standpoint for the whole perspectival illusion. For worshippers looking upward from the spot, the vision is complete. They find themselves in the presence of the heavenly and spiritual. That's pretty fucking epic. The effectiveness of Italian Baroque religious art depended on the drama and theatricality of individual images, as well as on the interaction and fusion of architecture, sculpture, and painting. I love the mixing those mediums to create something like immersive. It's awesome. Sound enhanced this experience. I mean, again, epic. Architects designed churches with acoustical effects in mind. That's awesome. And in an Italian Baroque church filled with music, the power of both image and sound must have been immensely moving. That's what I love about the Catholic Church, man. It's like epic. Like, it sounds like angels when they're singing in there, and then everything's like drama. It's cool. The importance of art, man. The importance of art. Through simultaneous stimulation of both the visual and auditory senses, the faithful might well have been transported into a trance-like state that would, indeed, as the great English poet John Milton, 1608 to 1674, eloquently stated in El Penseroso, 1631, bring all heaven before their eyes. Okay, and that's it. Bring all heaven before their eyes. Do it. That's what Lady Alchemy is all about, man. Fuck yeah. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, that's that. I've been streaming for over 2 hours. Just a little bit over. And I'm going to call it a night. And if you guys want to watch a replay, I'm going to be premiering this on YouTube for tomorrow. So if you guys are on YouTube, please don't forget, you can always contribute to the Streamlabs, even though it's a replay. Streamlabs.com/Martina Markota TV. You know, it's all welcome. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate everybody. And I hope the chat is having fun. Your kindness means more than you even know. Let me know if there's any questions. I'll stick around for a minute. It's not too active in the chat. All right. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Let's see. Tomorrow, the next time we will be doing Spain. And also, I think some other Flanders. Which is a big... Sorry, I just didn't ever know if this is like on or off. And I have to double click it sometimes. Flanders, the Dutch Republic. A lot of fun stuff over here. Yeah, we get into some good things coming up. We're in a really, really great section right now with some fantastic art. So we're going to finish off with Spain next time. Thank you, Uber-based. I really appreciate you guys a lot. I'll see you tomorrow in the chat if you're around, or if you're watching on YouTube, I'll see you tomorrow with continuing on this chapter. Love you guys. Bye.